we are indebted to Srila Prabhupada because he presented to us their lordships, Sri Gaura Nitai, Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Nityananda. He did this in a dramatic way. He arrived alone in the West, in New York, to carry out his spiritual master's order to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in English. And in this way he fulfilled the desires of previous acharyas who wanted the message of Lord Chaitanya to go to every town, every village in the world. In the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a verse that speaks about this desire of the Lord for his glories to be spread worldwide. It's not a desire based on the false ego or ahankara that the Lord wants to become well known. You know, like we might have a desire, oh, I'd like to be famous someday. I'd like everybody in the world to know my name. Not like that. It's a transcendental desire. So we'll speak a little bit about this tonight and how the Lord appeared in Switzerland. Here's the verse by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahorito Gorodaya Pushpamanto Chitra Sando Tamonado. Vande means I offer my respects. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, to the Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Nityananda. Sahorito, they appeared simultaneously. They arose. Yeah, there's a comparison. He's going to make a poetic comparison between the sunrise and the moonrise and the appearance of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. So he says they simultaneously arose where? Gododai, on the eastern horizon of Bengal. Pushpavanto, like the sun and the moon together, sometimes in the sky. We'll see both, the sun and the moon. Chitra, wonderful. Sando, bestowing benediction. Tamo nado, and dissipating darkness. I'll read the translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gaura to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. So it's very natural for the sun and moon to light up the whole world. Everyone gets the light. But at a certain point in history, the light had not gone outside of India. Lord Chaitanya's message had not been carried by anyone to every place in the world. And Srila Prabhupada somehow had this duty to go there all around the world. If you've traveled, of course you have, some of you are from other countries, like me, you know what it's like to go to a place where you don't know so many people and where the local people have their own ways. And you can imagine how Srila Prabhupada did this, going to many places in Europe, America, Africa, Australia, Russia, and carrying the message of Lord Chaitanya, presenting it so well that people could immediately see the light. Their ignorance was dissipated. They could understand spiritual knowledge. So this is why I say we're indebted to Srila Prabhupada. And he was very happy to do this. He was on the spiritual platform, so he was experiencing the joyfulness of spiritual life. His mind was very jolly, and he even didn't claim so much credit. He gave credit to his spiritual master. He said, I just adhered to the order of my spiritual master, and by his grace so many good things took place when I went out of India. So this happened, of course, 500 years after Lord Chaitanya appeared in West Bengal. So this 500-year mark, that was 1986, 500 years after the Lord appeared in 1486. By that time, 1986, Prabhupada had left this world, but he had spent 11 years in the Western countries and back in India, and had enabled people in dozens of countries, you know, maybe 3 dozen, 4 dozen, to learn about this hero of the age of Kali, Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is the jewel of the age of Kali. He's bringing something very brilliant into this dark age. And Srila Prabhupada's main method of presenting this was to present the chanting of Hare Krishna and the glories of Krishna, and especially this book, the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, his own translation with commentary of the work of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. This goes together with the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita presents our basic relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam presents many examples of devotees who act in relationship to Krishna. And then the Chaitanya Charitamrita presents the perfectional stage of love of Krishna, Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prema. It shows the relationships between the devotees who have achieved Krishna Prema. And Prabhupada was presenting this book. It's a biography of Lord Chaitanya, and he inspired his disciples to distribute it all over the world. It was translated from English over the past 30 or 40 years into many languages, about 20 languages now. And this book gives millions of people access to the highest transcendental truths. And we are happy that other people read this book. We distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, hoping that other people will learn about this message. I was in Germany when I first heard about Lord Chaitanya. I had finished college, then I went to Europe for the summer, and in Heidelberg I received an invitation to visit the devotees. On a Sunday I went there, and I got a booklet, just a pamphlet, about the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. I began to read it. I didn't know anything about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this was his plan, that he would now appear before me in the form of a booklet, and I would learn about his life and begin to worship him. What I knew about God was just from the Bible. I knew something about the miracles of God in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And I found that in the life of Chaitanya also there were descriptions of some miracles that the Lord performed. So it broadened my conception of God, and I understood that God can appear in other places, not just in the part of the world that I'm from. And that wherever he appears, he does amazing transcendental things. He acts in a transcendental way. He's not bound by the laws of nature like us. We're limited by the laws of nature. Our birth is not transcendental. But Lord Chaitanya's activities, Lord Krishna's activities are different than ours. So we have to study the difference. Krishna says, you should know the difference. You should know that my birth and activities are transcendental. So when we do read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we get a sense of this. We hear about the wonderful qualities of these personalities with transcendental bodies. What amazing and divine activities they can perform. Now Prabhupada founded the Hare Krishna movement. He established centers in many of these countries that he visited, and he sent his followers to establish centers so that he could teach these persons who were hearing about Lord Chaitanya how to become devotees. Sometimes people wonder, well, how can a non-Hindu become a follower of an apparently Bengali religion? Sometimes even the people in India who don't know about Lord Chaitanya, they know about Krishna, they know about Ram, but they don't know about Lord Chaitanya. They wonder, what makes someone study the life of Chaitanya? And one explanation is that the Chaitanya Charitamrita presents such an integrated understanding of the transcendental truths about Krishna and Lord Chaitanya that one can understand that this Lord Chaitanya is not different than Krishna. Lord Nityananda is not different than Balaram. They're not different than Ram and Lakshman. These are forms of the Lord in this new appearance for the age of Kali. So just 500 years ago, the same personalities, the same supreme personalities of Godhead appeared as Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So this is astonishing. And Krishnadas Kaviraj, in his book, he reveals that Chaitanya is the incarnation for this age. He's internally Krishna, the person who has the bluish complexion, who plays his flute. Lord Chaitanya is internally Krishna. But externally he has a glowing golden complexion, that complexion of his topmost devotee, Radharani. So he's Krishna tasting the mood of Radharani. And he comes to teach everyone Krishna's names and how to dance in moods of devotion to Krishna. This is Lord Chaitanya's movement. He just wants us to chant the names of Krishna and dance in a mood, in different moods of devotion, devotional service to Krishna. And throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are many passages from the Srimad Bhagavatam quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj. The Bhagavatam helps us understand the eternal pastimes of Krishna and his devotees. And these truths of the Bhagavatam, they shine like jewels. You know, when you walk on the streets past the jewelry shop, you know, your eyes are attracted to see the nice jewelry inside the windows. If you look closely, you see something of value, these precious stones, and how they're shaped by the jewelers. They're cut into brilliant objects. They're very attractive. So the truths of the Bhagavatam are like that. They're like fine jewelry. And Lord Chaitanya was distributing these truths to everyone. He was teaching the Bhagavatam to everyone. Did you know this about Krishna? Did you know that about Krishna? They would always discuss Krishna's glories and Krishna's pastimes from the Bhagavatam. And this is another book that Srila Prabhupada translated and had his disciples translate into other languages, maybe 80 languages. 80 languages perhaps. So there's a lot of nectar in the Jai Sri Chaitanya. There's a lot of nectar. Lord Chaitanya says, this is the nectar we're always anxious for. We're spirit souls, so we want something spiritual. We want something that satisfies our thirst, our spiritual thirst. And these topics about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna, these are the nectarian topics that will satisfy us. They're like an oasis in the desert of Kali Yuga. So we're very lucky that Srila Prabhupada led us to the oasis. Otherwise we'd be dry, we'd be, dying of thirst in the desert, looking for some water to quench our thirst. But here we have this wonderful nectar. And in the deity forms of Lord Chaitanya and Lord, here they're so beautiful, beautiful deities. Small, not very big, medium-sized deities, Chaitanya and Nityananda. They're so wonderfully dressed all the time, beautified by flowers and by the kirtan. So tonight we'll have this kirtan, and then we'll honor prasadam. We'll receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda and Srila Prabhupada. Are there any questions or comments? Did you understand?
Yes.
All right.
Maybe like to say something on. We have heard that Gaura Nitai are very merciful. How do we please them most? How do we get the mercy of Gaura Nitai? Easiest possible.
What's the easiest way to get the mercy of the merciful Lord Chaitanya? Well, he teaches that we should give up the process of understanding God by speculation. We should actually hear from devotees of Krishna. Then we'll understand. Persons who have dedicated their lives to Krishna, they can teach us about Krishna. We can take shelter of such persons, Krishna's representatives. And then we can develop a mood of loving Krishna. That will please Lord Chaitanya. He wants everyone to experience Krishna Prema. He's Krishna Prema Padayate. He came to deliver love of Krishna. So if we develop our love for Krishna, he'll be pleased. And we do that by hearing about Krishna from persons who are authorized to teach about him. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Glory to Srila Prabhupada.